to 60% less than department stores.
Of course, I wouldn't mind living in Paris.
Marshall's, brand names for less.
Every day.
A special delivery has just arrived at your Tri-State Quality Ford dealer. The cars and trucks you've been waiting for, including the all-new Contour and the hot new Escort ZX2. All with incredible deals, all with huge savings.
Now save $19.15 on a loaded Ford Explorer, equipped with a V8 engine, automatic transmission, and more.
Get to your Tri-State Quality Ford dealer now, because the deals are going.
Two small explosions went off in northern England today, and the IRA is suspected. That story tops our world view tonight.
The explosions near two railway stations followed a series of bomb threats and disrupted road and train traffic during the morning rush hour. Nobody was hurt. Both Prime Minister John Major and Tony Blair, the man running against him, think it's an attempt by the IRA to disrupt the upcoming elections. Iranian hardliners are threatening suicide bombings against Germany. A German court last week convicted an Iranian in the 1992 killings of Kurdish Iranian dissidents in Berlin and said the murders were ordered by Iran's leaders. Iran has denied involvement. And Irish journalist Veronica Guerin received a posthumous award today for her investigative reporting. Guerin was shot to death last year after a series of articles on Dublin's drug gangs. A man believed to be on the payroll of one of Ireland's leading drug dealers has been charged with her murder. Guerin was married and had a 4-year-old son.
There are signs from Israel that prosecutors may have ruled out filing charges in the influence peddling scandal involving Prime Minister Netanyahu. But there are also indications that the scandal is eroding vital support for the Prime Minister among some members of his coalition government. Here in New York, American Jewish leaders reacted. Deborah Cantana reports.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will find out this weekend whether he'll be indicted for fraud in an influence peddling scandal. The scandal fuels a call by his opponents that he resign. The scandal has become known as the Bar-On affair. It stems from Netanyahu's appointment of Ronnie Bar-On as Attorney General. Police charge that Netanyahu appointed Bar-On to help another friend escape corruption charges. There was such an uproar over Bar-On's appointment that he resigned just after 1 day on the job. Here in New York, Jewish organization leaders met at a memorial service for former Israeli President Chaim Herzog, who died in Israel this week. Most of them here believe Netanyahu will rise above the scandal and not resign.
I think he has to make that judgment whether he can accomplish those goals while under this cloud. It may well be removed, and we may well see that, in fact, the conclusion is that this was maybe a political misjudgment, but not a criminal act.
For a very small country, it is a very intense democracy, and therefore it is not unusual to have many different political forces pulling at each other simultaneously in Israel. We've seen it before, but I do have full confidence that this government will be able to get back on track.
The Israeli Attorney General will announce the decision whether to prosecute the Prime Minister by the start of the Passover holiday on Monday. In Israel, the opinion polls are split on whether Netanyahu should resign if he is indicted. If he is indicted and found guilty, the charge carries a maximum penalty of 3 years in jail. Deborah Quintana, Channel 11, News at 10.
President Clinton marked the opening of the Newseum outside Washington today by urging reporters to carefully separate rumor from fact. Appearing on screens at the $50 million News Museum, Mr. Clinton said the failure to separate truth from fiction can cause real damage to people. Vice President Al Gore officially opened the museum. It is a project of the Freedom Forum. It offers the history of news, as well as up-to-the-minute information and a view of how news is reported.
Car insurance rates in the tri-state area are among the highest in the country, but a group of senators is trying to change all that. The bipartisan group of lawmakers is looking at reforming personal injury lawsuits, which they say are rife with fraud and that's driving up premiums. Under the so-called Auto Insurance Reform Act, people could agree not to sue for pain and suffering costs if they have an accident. It's estimated that could save customers more than $200 a year per driver. Well, the Internal Revenue Service says nearly 2,400 wealthy Americans got away with not paying federal income tax in 1993. In addition, the IRS says that while the number of people earning more than $200,000 a year increased by 15 times between 1977 and 1993, the number of people in that income category who paid no taxes increased also by 28 times. Also, 18,000 Americans with high incomes paid less than 5% in taxes in 1993.
On Wall Street, the stock market capped off a week of rebounding with another impressive gain today. The Dow Industrials rose about 45 points. Winners outnumbered losers 5-3. Trading came in at 472 million shares, and for the week, the Dow gained more than 311 points.
Breakfast may well be the most important meal of the day, but nowadays not many people have time to actually fix it. Well, the supermarket guru tells us which ready-made foods are the best alternative.
Remember the good old days, those days where breakfast was preached as the most important meal of the day? Well, in today's environment, who has time to practice it, yet alone preach it?
But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more.
That morning rush to the office has created a surge in demand for convenient breakfast foods, now commonly referred to as desk fast foods. Microwavable hot cereals, cereal bars, bagels, just about anything that can be thrown in a pocketbook or a briefcase and eaten at work, or even gulped down during that commute. According to the NPD group, the group that tracks consumer eating trends, those of us that are eating at our desk, well, it's doubled in the past 5 years. That's busy moms, harried kids, and the age-old workers that don't have enough time. Sales for breakfast bars are up by almost 6%. Packaged bagel sales are up more than 16% from last year. And even hot cereal is showing more than a 2% gain over the previous year. But what does this new run-and-eat trend bode for us in terms of nutrition? The good news is that breakfast bars with a relatively healthy profile are doing well. Granola bars, which have become increasingly less healthy, are stagnant. Bagels are low in fat, just better watch the cream cheese. Microwavable oatmeal is generally low in fat and provides fiber and protein. And as for the energy that might have come from the good conversation around your breakfast table, well, you can still have that. It's just that you sort of like need to cover over the mouthpiece. I'm Phil Lempert, your supermarket guru, wishing you a great breakfast.
New Yorkers to wash the cream cheese on their bagels? I don't think so. We need cream cheese, okay?
So there. On the News at 10 continues a tour brochure that has some East Harlem residents upset.
A New York landmark will soon fall to the wrecking ball.
And a thriller that involves murder, intrigue, and the White House. Politics as usual. Catherine Kinley reviews Murder at 1600.
If you're afraid of the dark and scared to be alone, then beware, 'cause this Sunday, we're gonna chill you to the bone.
I warned them, but they wouldn't listen.
2 movies that will scare you. 2 movies that will dare you. 2 movies that will make you say, yes. Stephen King's The Dead Zone and Tales from the Dark Side. Sunday, starting at 3 on the WB11.
Listen, if your family's outgrowing your Camry or Accord, there's a very painless solution. Lease a Mercury Sable sedan, or Sable wagon, or even a Mercury Villager. Your choice for just $279 a month and a $500 acquisition fee. No games. This is with all the bells and whistles like V6 power and anti-lock brakes. It's time to imagine yourself in a Mercury. You do the math and see your Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealers now.
Call your travel agent or 1-800-JAMAICA.
Okay, tune into Bob's Spring Sale. It's our biggest sale of the year with store-wide savings on what we wear. Don't be left out.
For years, the townsfolk thought they had the perfect bagel, till Dunkin' Donuts came along.
A Dunkin' Bagel, up to 12 varieties, freshly baked every day.
Of all the features that have made Dodge Caravan America's best-selling minivan, nothing has been as user-friendly as our revolutionary second sliding door. And now, you can get this second sliding door at no extra charge. Announcing the National Dodge Sale. It's never been easier to get into and out of America's favorite minivan. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Freaknik 1997 is getting underway in Atlanta. Black college students from across the country are arriving in the city for the annual Spring Break Festival that started as a picnic back in 1982 and has mushroomed in the years since. There have been some problems at past Freaknik festivals, hooliganism and giant traffic jams, so the city is increasing police patrols. But this year there also is a friendship force, handing out brochures and encouraging a calmer atmosphere.
People in East Harlem are not happy about a tour company's brochures that promise tourists a trip to gangland when they head uptown. The East Harlem Chamber of Commerce says Discovery Tours is, quote, out of line, unquote, when it offers tourists an opportunity to explore gang territories and see graffiti messages. They say it's an insult to the hardworking people who live in that community. The tour operator says those are old brochures and that the new ones do not have that material in them.
A 43-story hotel is being planned over the landmark Biltmore Theater. Shows like Barefoot in the Park and Hair were among those staged at the Biltmore. Now Manhattan developer Joseph Moynihan is planning to build a 750-room hotel after signing a contract in March to buy the neglected theater along with 5 adjoining tenement buildings on 8th Avenue. Plans by the previous owner to restore the 72-year-old theater fell through after it failed to win necessary concessions from theatrical unions.
The last time we saw Wesley Snipes, he was the victim in The Fan, a movie in which he starred opposite Robert De Niro. Now he's a homicide cop looking for a killer in the new movie, Murder at 1600, as in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, as in the address of the White House in Washington, D.C. Catherine Kinley's here now with a review.
Thanks, Jack. And the fall of the President of the United States because of sex seems like the topic du jour in Hollywood. There have already been 2 such films in the past 4 months, Absolute Power and The Shadow Conspiracy, and now a third, Murder at 1600. Oh, if the walls of the Lincoln bedroom could talk.
First, let's meet our cast of characters. You got the competent Wesley Snipes doing his Eddie Murphy routine.
Well, do you know anybody I could talk to? Because I've been writing and I've been phoning them. I sent them an email and nobody calls me. They're just jerking me around. I'm telling you, it's driving me crazy, man.
No, I'm crazy.
He's joined by his equally competent sidekick, Dennis Miller.
All right, boys. I'm thinking this looks, handled.
Together, these guys get the murder case of a lifetime.
I've got a murder at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. An address that changes all the rules.
So you're saying sex, not rape. So she had sex in the White House.
Sex in the White House? Oh, what a surprise. This case isn't going to be an easy one, especially with the veto power of one intimidating Daniel Benzali.
Where are you going with this? Either to the White House or to the press.
You were born to become a chalk outline.
Of course, it helps to have Diane Lane on your side, a secret agent with a dogged suspicion about the First family.
They weren't at Camp David when Carla was murdered. They were in the White House.
How do you know this?
That morning, I almost shot their golden retriever. They never go anywhere without that dog. Tonight, I saw footage of them coming back from Camp David with the dog.
Was this a dog of a movie? Well, it did seesaw a lot between good and mediocre, just like this car seesaws up in the air during a hot pursuit. Oh, and don't forget the macho car explosion scene.
He's clear! How many times are we going to bring down the White House in cinema? Been there, done that. Snipes and Lane make an interesting film coupling, but there are really only 2 things I like about this movie. Its title and Daniel Benzali, who gives the brilliant line delivery, "You were born to become a chalk outline." Can't do it like he can. In fact, let's give Murder at 1600 2 of those chalk outlines.
Great line.
It
no
really
question.
is.
Thanks, Catherine.
Okay. Still ahead, Mr. G is back to, there you are. Mr. G is back to tell us when this crummy weather is finally going to end.
And we're over here now.
Yeah.
The flood of troubles continues for residents in North Dakota.
Plus, Magic Johnson is coming out of retirement again, but you won't believe who he is going to be playing for. Coming up. So stop moving around.
I'd like to tell you a little story that illustrates why 106.7 Light FM plays the most music with hardly any talk. Once there was a little blonde-haired girl. She was a perfect angel, except for one thing. She talked all the time. Actually, it wasn't her fault. She was the middle child, and she had to fight for attention. But anyway, one day, she suddenly realized that nobody was listening anymore. So the moral is just shut up, and people will listen to you.
106.7 Light FM, the most music with less talk.
When you come to the Cayman Islands for stretches of pure white sand, stretch your imagination with the rest of our natural beauty.
I'm a little angry. If only I'd known how good Advil really is. Look, when I work, I move. The other day, everything stopped. I took Tylenol, extra strength as usual. Didn't get rid of all the pain. Then my daughter Amy got hold of me. She's a doctor, you know. She was upset I wasn't using Advil. She said many doctors will tell you, 2 Advil handle tough pain better than any 2 extra strength Tylenol. I know about Advil now, and I know it just works better.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Are you for real? 17 cents a pencil, 5 cents, you hear me, mister? 89 cents for thumbtacks. Don't make me laugh. What do you think this is, the 80s? Give me a break.
She's tough. Tough as nails.
What are you, a comedian? I thought you'd see it my way.
Nice touch.
Act tough. It'll be our little secret how you get the best deals on office supplies. Get over 7,000 supplies and free delivery. Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
After you find out that the Oldsmobile Bravada features the exclusive Smart Track system, which can sense changing road conditions and send power to those wheels with traction, and after you discover that the Bravada comes with a rich leather seating area and luxurious appointments, you may think you can't afford it. Well, think again, because now, for a limited time, you can lease the Bravada for only $339 a month. Bravada by Oldsmobile. Good thinking.
This portion of the news brought to you by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers.
The flooding in North Dakota keeps getting worse tonight as the Red River is now expected to crest an incredible 25 feet above flood stage. The mayor of Grand Forks says it's possible that 50,000 people could be forced to evacuate if dikes holding back the river collapse. So far, 300 homes, an elementary school, and a nursing home have been flooded as residents try to keep the river at bay with sandbags. It's all because of melting snow after a blizzard pounded the entire state earlier this month. The National Weather Service says the river should crest at 53 feet by Saturday and stay at least 10 feet above flood stage for the next week.
All right, it's time to turn our attention toward our weather. We have, you have guests in the studio tonight that won him at an auction.
That's right.
They actually paid money to spend an evening with him.
Rick Summers and his lovely wife, Jessica.
How much did they give?
Oh, well, so far I haven't spent anything.
You should take them out for a nice dinner after the show.
Yeah, well, how much they spend on you?
Oh, they spend a lot of money, and as for dinner, I got to do weather right now, and we're going to tell everybody the big story around here, and that snow does occur during the month of April. Let's talk about it, and Rick and Jessica will do this one for you.
Dinner?
Yeah, dinner, good topic, but I got to do weather. I only got 220, come on. April the 18th in 1875, that was the deal. It snowed. We had 3 inches in the city, so it could be wild around here, could be white. Now we'll do numbers. Let's get it going. Midtown. And again, the current reading as we speak with you is 41. Humidity 7, northwest 14, gusting 21, split high-low 45, 36. The normal this time of year should be right around 62 degrees. You want to see the storm? There it is. Really offshore now, off Cape Cod. But bands of clouds are coming in from the open waters of the ocean. That's the deal. That's the cloud line. It's going to stick around. It's a slow mover. Radar shows a lot of rain lining up just south of the city, snow up and over the hills in New England. There's the break. See it real well on satellite, the leading edge of a cold front and storm. And right here is the drying slot. You can see moving across Pennsylvania, but a slow go, maybe a peek at the sun Saturday afternoon and maybe again on Sunday. And once again, with the storm offshore, slow mover, the weekend right now looks cloudy. Spurts tomorrow, maybe some sun, can't go wrong forecast, and more of the same, I think, again on Sunday. Temperatures, once again, on the chilly side, upper 40s, low 50s. In terms of storm track, computers right on the money. 3rd day in a row, the storm is kicking out very slowly. You can see the snow for the hills of New England tonight, Cape Cod, goodbye, Gulf of Maine by tomorrow. And in terms of snow amounts, we mentioned it before, it did accumulate north and west and north of the city. But for us, it's wet. Forecast for the remainder of tonight goes like this. As we get closer to the weekend, the wind and rain, a little bit of wet snow, especially north and west, 35 to 40. That's good for 2 months ago. For tomorrow, variable cloudiness, some sun, scattered showers, 52 to 57. On the 5-day forecast, we're going to moderate. A matter of fact, we'll take the 56 on Saturday. We'll take the 58 on Sunday. Yep. Monday, a 62. Tuesday, a 58. And on Wednesday, a good night to take people out to dinner. On a partly sunny skies, temperatures will be in the low 60s.
Okay, they heard that.
All right.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, Sal has a night off tonight, and Don Gould is here filling in. And what do you have in the sports department?
A lot, Heidi. You know, mark down the night of April 18th in your little scrapbook. This was a night that was going to give some teams colossal headaches or wonderful wide sinus cavities. Breathing room. This was the night that started with the Pacers hoping to drop the Knicks to 5th place. It was a night that had the Yankees going to Chicago with 5 straight losses and throwing high fives. And it was a night that the new ban on octopus throwing in Detroit almost didn't get tested at all. Sports next on Channel 11 News at 10.
Mark Burns.
Opportunity knocks.
You want me to sell weapons, don't you? The riskier the road, the greater the profit.
With an offer Quark can't refuse.
It's no different than selling sandwiches.
Don't ever cross me. But the price of success,
I haven't broken any laws.
I will nail you to the wall, is devastating.
28 million debt?
On an all-new episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Tomorrow at 7 on the WPIX.
At Chrysler, everything is new. And now, with Chrysler Town & Country, get option package values plus the 4th door at no charge. What's new in your world?
I love New York. Everybody sing. I love New York. It's so exciting. I love New York. And there's no place like it.
Like the song? You'll love the state.
I love New York.
I love New York, baby.
For your free I Love New York travel guide, call 1-800-I-LOVE-NEW-YORK.
Passport?
Yes.
Francesco Lafabula has just created the little black dress that will change everything. The magazines have created a frenzy, and you have sworn that your stores will be the first to carry it. Enter UPS. Customs gets cleared electronically. The global network kicks in. Also that at the same time, on the same day, the dresses arrive from Europe to each of your stores nationwide. Success is a beautiful thing.
Nice dress.
UPS, moving at the speed of business.
Introducing the new Jeep Cherokee. While it still has one of the most powerful engines in its class, the all-new interior will impress you. And while its off-road capability is legendary, you'll find a quieter ride. Now, with over 40 advancements, will you still recognize it? We think so. Now, lease the new Jeep Cherokee for $289 a month.
See your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. This portion of the news brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer.
See what happens when you mess around too long? When the Knicks started the night, they figured they had to beat the pesky Pacers at the Garden and try to keep the Bulls from winning number 70 tomorrow at Chicago. Losing either would most likely mean starting the playoffs on the road. Well, first things first. Patrick Ewing showed the intensity of the game by blocking Antonio Davis's attempt off to Allen Houston. The feed to Larry Johnson early on, the Knicks led 8-4. Patrick feeling a bit like John Stockton these days. Get ready for that pretty backdoor pass to John Starks, who had all 13 points in the first half. Ewing and Rick Smits often shadow each other. Ewing usually wins, 54-42 at intermission. Knicks scored the first basket of the third, and then Indiana made the game interesting. 9 straight points, Reggie Miller there. Only a 3-point lead after Jalen Rose made one from the baseline. But the Knicks got a biggie from Houston, camped out in the far corner, waited for Ewing to find him, and hit it. The Crusher, another 3 from Houston, who made all of his 12 points stand out in this game. And then LJ finished off the Pacers. The Knicks won at 91-80. They got a gift from Toronto, but we'll tell you about that in a moment. A Nets loss in Miami tonight and another to Atlanta Sunday would have left Coach John Calipari with a price tag of $125,000 per victory. Now, what did the Heat have at stake tonight? Zippo. They'd already locked up the division title, won 60 games, so they went through the motions. Just 31 second-half points. Tony Massenberg, a couple of blocks. Kendall Gill led New Jersey with 24. Jimmy Jackson added 21. The Nets, a relatively easy 86-74 triumph, now cuts the Calipari per victory bill down to $120,000. In the other games, here it is. Toronto winning in Charlotte. They're not supposed to do that. Charlotte could have beaten the Knicks out for third place, but now they have to start on the road, and the Knicks clinched home court advantage in the first round with that Toronto win. Elsewhere, Boston beat Philadelphia 119-13. Celtics first division win. They're 1-23 overall. Cleveland over Detroit 82-75. Pistons are fading. Minnesota topped Milwaukee 122-112. It was Phoenix 106, San Antonio 95. Washington won a biggie over Orlando 104-93. Albert Bell and Frank Thomas aren't talking to the media anymore. Obviously, the White Sox bad start is our fault. Yankees were at the new Comiskey Park in chilly Chicago tonight, and we'll take the blame for the weather, too. But Jamie Navarro has to take the blame for another Chicago meltdown. In the first inning, Navarro gave up 4 straight hits, one of which came from Bernie Williams and drove in Tim Raines. The sacrifice flyer, Mark Whitten single, made it 3-0 Yanks, and then Chris Nopek decided to give the first base fans a try for a souvenir. His throw got past Thomas. Tino Martinez and Whitten scored 5-0 New York. Bernie drove in 1 of 2 second-inning runs with another single and finished off Navarro with a bases-loaded double off the base of the left field wall. Yanks led 9-0. Now it's 10-4 in the 8th inning. Elsewhere, Oakland beat Detroit 9-5. Baltimore at Boston postponed because of rain. Milwaukee slammed Cleveland 10-2 in the 7th inning. Toronto leads Texas 6-4. Precipitation also alleviated the need for an exorcist at Shea tonight. Cubs and Mets were about to go halvies for one, but 0-12 Chicago and 4-10 New York rained out. They will make it up Sunday. Now, you know, running from one end of a football field to the other inside the stripes totals 100 yards. And inside the Parker at Pittsburgh, and he was pooped. The Reds took it 6-1. Atlanta tried to tame the Rockies at Colorado, and early on, Ryan Klesko reached Jamie Wright with a double for a 2-0 lead in the first inning. Usually it's the Rockies who do the crushing. Right now, the Braves lead 10-0 after 3. In the other 2 games, Philadelphia beat Montreal 8-3, Cincinnati over Pittsburgh, as we said, 6-1. Hail, hail! Where the hail is the rest of the gang? Hale Irwin is pulling to Tiger Woods at the halfway point of the Senior PGA Championship at Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. A 7-under 65 left him at 10-under, 7 in front of Bob Charles. And at the MCI Classic in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, MCI stands for My Club Injures. Why is Woody Austin using his wedge on this hole instead of a putter? Well, that's because Woody was using his head on the hole prior. Now, kids, don't do this at home because Austin is a professional. He's had experience in ruining his clubs by repeatedly striking them against his forehead. Austin missed the cut by 2 strokes, making this whole scenario understandable. I'm wondering if Jack would do that after shooting a couple of 74s. And Detroit won over St. Louis 2-1 tonight in hockey, so they've evened up their series. That's sports.
I've never shot a couple of 74s, so it's hard telling. Finally, Magic Johnson is going to come out of retirement again, but he's not going to go back to the NBA. Johnson, who is HIV positive, came back last season, you'll recall, to rejoin the Los Angeles Lakers for the second half of the season. Well, this time he's going to have some new teammates who play a whole different kind of game. Magic is going to play for the world-famous Harlem Globetrotters.
It's a chance to really see them front and center instead of watching them on the boob tube.
The move is not permanent, though. Johnson is going to join the Globe.